Hello and welcome to our short Startup Genome Explainer video on frequently asked data questions on our Ecosystem 360 Monitor membership. My name is Adam Bregu, Director of Business Development here at Startup Genome. And today we have Farshad Fahimi, our Head of Data Science.
Hey, Adam.
So for our first question, we'd love to hear a bit about how did the Ecosystem 360 Monitor start? What was the idea behind it?
The Ecosystem 360 Monitor started because some of our advisors and also members were interested in knowing, for example, when their startup ecosystem is saying 10% growth in exit, what does that 10% mean? Does it mean it's good? What is it compared against? So we collected and used the experience that we had from the ranking, GSER, report and other reports that, for example, subsector ranking, and brought it into a place that you can benchmark your ecosystems, you benchmark your city against another 5 cities.
Fantastic.
Basically.
Fantastic. And in terms of the data sources that are used, can you tell us a bit about what they are and how you use them and how you prepare them?
So there are major sources of funding that is crowdsourced or private, and the ones that we are using and combining and merging and cleansing, and also using our AI technology in order to put it into buckets and different categories, whether it's subsector or tech, are basically Crunchbase, Deerroom, PitchBook, and then there is sources for patent data that we use from online, like WIPO, and there's other crowdsourced data that we use, for example, GitHub, Meetups, and some other sources for understanding the layoff patterns, or if people are moving to work more remotely or in one place. We have also sources for that.
Fantastic. And what are the metrics and how were these metrics come up with?
The Ecosystem 360 has 4 components: performance, funding, talent, and community. So maybe I just move for a second and show you what I mean by that by looking at some of the Ecosystem 360 slides. So the performance is important because usually, for example, if I show you here the exits, what exits do, they're responsible for job creation. They're responsible for things like bringing talent, attracting other startups to grow. And we have different sorts of metrics here. We have 6 months, 3 months. So you can play with the time frame that you want to look at. You can interact with the chart, add or remove different ecosystems here. As you can see, for example, in this case, we have, for example, New York slides, and there's been a decline in the 6 months, which is after the COVID, but this is the 6 months. Now, what if you want to go and look into more details? So for example, can you look at the total exit numbers? And you have another perspective on what is happening in Silicon Valley or Boston. There's also other, like one of my favorite charts here is the breakdown of funding, because what's important in funding, you can look at the funding trends, of course, but what you can also look at is how your funnel is performing and how your funnel is being compared from the last year. So let's, for example, say this one. You compare your funnel from the long-term 4-year periods, 3-4-year periods, and you see how it's changed. So in this case, you can see New York has improved across the funnel. And if you look at like a different chart, for example, deals by type here, then you have the option to, for example, here, look at the New York City, the past few months to see, oh, wow, there's been a decline in Series C+. Yeah, it's correlated to what's happening with the COVID-19. And then, hey, it looks like there's some recovery there. And as I said, there's also talent. So you can track in your city what's happening with the talent as top developers here. How am I comparing to the global average, global median, and how am I compared to other cities? Or from the community perspective, how is the meetings around my area? What is it? How are people meeting? What percentage of the meetings are being canceled? And this was specifically introduced after the COVID-19 period. And as you can imagine, for example, things like layoffs are also important that we use for benchmarking and looking against. And yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. I guess just one last question is why are we showing the moving average, or why is it important to look at the data on an ongoing basis?
It's looking at data from different uh, distance. Let's say, do you want to look at it in detail, or do you want to look at it, for example, we have also not only the time frame, which is can be large or small, but also we have thresholds. So I just want to look at over 50 million,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe I just want to look at the take and non-take
Mm-hmm.
to see what's happening
Yeah.
there. So it's just different perspectives of how you can look at the data and decide what you want to do as an action.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, fantastic. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we finish off this short explainer video?
I think the ecosystem 360 is still very young, and we are working on adding new metrics all the time. We work with our clients and advisory board. So it's really becoming something mature and one of its own kind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to take it to the next level.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Farshad, for clarifying these key questions. For any more questions on our Ecosystem 360 monitor, you can reach out to me via email directly at adam@startupgenome.com and CC our head of data science at farshad@startupgenome.com. So thanks again, Farshad, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, Adam.